Hey, this is PJ here from the editing room. As you can hear, it's not very quiet behind me. I have piano going on in the background. I just wanted to drop in here before this episode to let you know what it is. And that is, I had said on the birthday episode that I was going to have a little break because I wanted to kick off strong with a big new idea, a new format of a new episode. I've recorded that and it's nearly ready to go, but it's not quite ready yet. But I didn't feel right about leaving you hanging and just having an empty week. And so I have dug out of the annals an old recording from ancient recording from about 10 months ago now, just over Christmas. Particularly astute listeners of the show may remember that I was somewhere in the bush in a house and there were bushfires around and helicopters going in the background and I was recording audio. And so yeah, in the early days of the SoloRolePlayers Podcast, where I did a play of Cartographer. Great little game, really interesting. I recommend you check it out. It's obviously not a big narrative story or anything like that, since it is mostly drawing. So this is an episode I was just sort of keeping just in case. It's maybe not the most exciting of episodes, but it's a cozy little walk through this book that is Cartographer. So I hope you do enjoy that. And then as soon as possible, maybe even early, I'm going to get for you this first episode of Season 2 of the SoloRolePlayers Podcast. I can't wait to share it with you and talk about all what is coming up in this new season of the show. So enjoy me, old-fashioned PJ, back in the early years, playing Cartographer. Hello and welcome back to the SoloRolePlayers Podcast. I have for you today another little actual play. Now I say a little one because I anticipate that this is going to be a pretty short episode. Then again, I have been wrong before. I got a little game for Christmas called Cartograph, the Atlas Edition, a solo role-playing game of map making and discovery by Brandon Lee. Now this is something that caught my eye. Not sure where, not sure when, but it was around the time that my son and I were sort of trying to not really learn, but just have a bit of fun making some fantasy maps and stuff. One of those maps I used in my white box playthrough that I was and still am doing. And this came up and it makes an RPG around making the map. Other than that, I know absolutely nothing about it other than the 4.5 minutes I read at the beginning before hitting record on this. So it looks to me like it's sort of journaling focused. There is rules to make it a non-authored or a minimal authored sort of a game. I don't really need to write heaps. I'm going to be just saying my thoughts out loud. There is a system where you can use keywords instead of journaling to help sort of keep track of your progress. I think I'm going to try that out. I think that's an interesting idea. But basically, I just want to create a cool map that I can then go ahead and use in another fantasy game that I will inevitably be playing soon. So, it does look like there is a little bit of resource management insofar as you have health. Essentially, you have money, you have food, and that is going to, by the look of it, sort of balance out, or you have to manage that stuff in order to keep a healthy number of dice to roll to keep making your map. All I know about the map making is that there are different kinds of dice, and you drop them onto the page, and based on what they roll and what type of dice they are, will indicate what is there, which is a really cool idea. I really like that. So we're just going to play through this together. This is not a lesson, but I think it's probably simple enough, and we are starting to start. You could probably learn the game through this. Let's just see. To begin, we start with 1 landmark and 3 biome dice. Now, I have to pick the dice colors that I want here. Let me see, what do I have 3 of? We're going to go with these ones. So all the pip dice are biome dice, and the landmark dice are going to be number dice. That works. 3 3 biome dice, 1 landmark dice. This is my dice pool. I need to... I don't have a character sheet printed out because I wasn't planning on doing this right now. And I happen to not be anywhere with a computer or internet. So, or a printer, for that matter. I am a cartographer. I start with... I'll make my own little character sheet here. So far the character sheet consists of tracking my food, wear, coin, and reputation. The next thing I need to do is choose a name and pronouns. Let's roll up on that. 3d6. Twice on the name table, we have 9, 12 is... why can't I pronounce that? Lusktele. Names are not my strong suit. It's Harlow. It's Kerrigan. That's the one underneath it. That'll do. So my name is Kerrigan. 6, 7 is Botrelli. Kerrigan Botrelli. I'm going to say Bocelli because that's what I'm going to say anyway. Values and disposition. Kelligan. He is... he's a he. And he is a awkward. And he's awkward, but he values a challenge. So the purpose of the value and disposition is that it sort of informs a general tone in which they'll interact with the world as we are playing from their perspective. They are the cartographer who are making the maps. Specialization. They are no stranger to the field of map making, and as such their skills have culminated in the specialization of... I rolled too many dice. The specialization of Explorer. Excellent. So that means we start with 2 temporary dice. Now, temporary dice are essentially wild. Who'd have thought I wouldn't have enough bloody dice in my pencil case? I need something that can be a temporary dice. Let's go with pink, a temporary. Hopefully we don't need much more than 2. So, the game might fall apart. Otherwise, I can just roll multiple times, I guess. So we have 2 temporary dice. They're essentially wild dice, and they will be removed at some stage, I assume. As for the background of the character... I didn't write down he's an explorer. So then we can do a background. We're just going to do this super quickly. The land I came from was... Black first. The land I came from was dangerous, yet beautiful. I decided to leave because... I saved enough coin to fund my dream of exploration, but I left behind a substantial debt. So I think the story is probably that they saved enough coin to fund my dream, but I have a lot of debt. Did he just steal the money, or did he just bugger off instead of paying the debt and made the excuse that, my higher purpose is to be a cartographer in a strange land? Regardless... He looks like 7, 8. He has a bit of a snaggle-toothed smile and intricate glasses. So I can picture this guy. He's got these these horn-rimmed sort of gold wire frame glasses, and he's very smiley, and he has one tooth that sticks out the side of his mouth a little bit, which he is not at all ashamed of or seems to even notice that much. He doesn't notice it anymore, so why should anyone else? The opening scene, before you get into the game proper, you might like to know exactly how you came into this land and what new complications you face in doing so. Roll on the tables below, make a short journal entry. I will say it out loud. My voyage to the new land was by way of underground vehicle. So we traveled to this land through some complex mine system, perhaps. This is sort of fantasy, I guess, medieval technology sort of thing. But we have minecarts, and perhaps let's say that there was an ambitious dwarven mining project to connect 2 lands under the sea, and it was a very scary and dangerous and damp, drippy place. And the journey was complicated and strange. It left me bewildered. It was complicated and strange because when Kerrigan decided to leave a little bit hastily and in any way that he possibly could, going through these underground mines was a bit of an experimental process anyway. And he sort of hadn't thought much about the journey and just envisaged himself arriving at the other side, yet the mines were not properly finished. There were dead ends everywhere. The dwarves didn't really know what they were doing, and it was really a surprise in the end that he got out at all. But he did, and he has recovered from his harrowing underground experience, and now he is set out to make the greatest map of this land that the world has ever seen. Excuse the helicopters in the background. Resources. Throughout the game, your cartographer will be acquiring and losing a variety of resources. Good reputation is important. I read this. You can use reputation, you can spend it for a reroll, and it modifies the cost of items in shops. So when you take a shop action, each item costs 1 coin less for each reputation in the plus that you have. So if you So it's not worded very well. The coin is adjusted for each reputation that you have. So example, if you have 3 reputation, items are 3 more coin to purchase. If you have -3 reputation, items cost 3 more to purchase. If you have +3 reputation, it will cost 3 fewer. And you can spend a reputation to re-roll any number of your dice for 1 reputation. Wounds, we will be getting hurt apparently. If we ever have to fill in a 4th wound, as in we have 3 wound slots, if we have to fill in a 4th one, we die and the game is over. Coin is a numerical abstraction of wealth. You may wish to simply leave it abstract. You may wish to think about what this land uses currency or just leave it abstract. Abstract it is, buy items, converse with locals, whatever. Wares represents the various commodities and goods you may acquire throughout play. Maximum of 5 wares. I'm going to make a note that we can only have 5. Good. Food, you can have unlimited coin, you can have unlimited items. Are significant boons. Okay, good. Let's make items on our character sheet. You cannot carry... So powerful bonuses that help you fill out your map quicker, aid in resource management, or keep your cartographer out of harm's way. You can't carry duplicates. If you're instructed to acquire a random item, simply draw and discard the top card of the deck and consult the item table. Wonderful. Items have non-descriptive names. You should think of a descriptive name for an item when you take it that fits the land you have created. For example, maybe the people of this settlement ride 3-legged goats around, and so your animal mount might be a 3-legged goat. Okay. Whatever. You'll be asked to fill in the map. So we get I do like this when they give like little examples of how you might draw stuff. I am about as far away from an artist that you can imagine. I would love to be able to draw even simple things. I would really like to be able to draw just simple things that look nice. I can't. I do appreciate then when they give me some little simple sketch of what a mountain range might look like or what a coastline might look like, so I can kind of copy it and have some sort of a chance of how it's going to work. Okay, then we have... When you take prompts, you should consider the reputation, wounds, places they're visited, blah, blah, blah. Whenever you visit a location, you will be presented with a prompt there to give you a starting point in detailing the location, and we'll end with a question or 2. You should aim to answer each in your journal entry. After the questions, most prompts will display a mechanical effect in bold. So I'm going to be mostly looking at the mechanical effect. We have landmark dice, which are settlements on the map and are generally favorable locations. And we have biome dice, which mark natural environments that define the landscape. Things like, I assume, forests, lakes, deserts, that kind of thing. And then, as I said before, we have the temporary dice, which are wild. The game ends. The dice pool. During the play, we're going to be rolling dice directly onto the map, and this will be my primary way that the map gets filled out with detail. Whenever this happens, some prompts may let you gain more dice. Whenever you would lose dice, you lose it from your dice pool and return it to the supply. So I guess we're going to be resource managing our dice pool to an extent. The game end. This can end in multiple ways, some positively, others not so. The game will end if your cartographer takes a wound and has no slots, so a 4th wound. You draw your 3rd joker of the same color. Okay, I guess that's with shuffling. That is a stupid comment to make, PJ. Of course it's with shuffling. Or you run out of dice, and these represent a negative end. If you can name 10 locations on your map and have at least 1 complete coastline, then you succeed. The game ends in a success. You could try a shorter game by only having 6 locations, or a longer game having 15. You can then pass on the map to someone else, finish it at your leisure, I guess either by playing or just filling it in for fun. So what I want to do, my goal here is I want to build probably quite a sparse map that could be filled in, or just the beginnings of a map. And through the prompts that I get, I want to build a bit of an idea for a world, which I can then go back and fill in later as a whole map and use as the setup for some other game. That is my goal. How to play. Okay. I don't know, do you want me to read this? No one is answering me. I think I'm just going to go through it. Why not? This can be our very first instructional RPG actual play. I'll skip stuff. I might make mistakes. That is the caveat. So, a couple of things that stand out to me. It recommends that you use pencil because you may be changing and erasing things on your map. That's cool. I like that. And then we can maybe fill it in with pen later. If a prompt instructs you to mark a location, sketch the location on your map where indicated. If the prompt specifies to mark it at this location, then you should consider the marked location to be your destination. You can extend or erase a coastline, as you may be instructed to do, by drawing it a few centimeters or erasing a few centimeters. A few centimeters at a time, not the entire thing. There are people in the game. It will often refer to people during prompts. It's important to note that this does not simply refer to humans, could be any group of living things. Make up whatever you like. Drawing cards. When you travel to a location, you'll draw a card from the deck, discard it once used, and you should draw new cards to form a discard pile. So you draw cards, make a discard pile. There are turns and phases. A turn is 3 phases. Explain in the next page. We'll get to that then. Settlements, any kind of location that houses people mechanically, campment, town, or city. If you're instructed to mark a settlement or you roll the settlement result on the die, choose between an encampment, city, or town. There are regions. Sometimes the game may ask you to name a region, and it is basically defined as a land encompassing at least 2 locations. You may wish to denote a region by an outline, so maybe a border, something like that. There are permanent wounds. If things become dire, a prompt may ask you to take a permanent wound. This is a grievous wound that cannot be removed. That sounds bad. Ruins, but I guess it's good for sort of the pacing of the game. I do like feeling like you're making progress, feeling like you have an end. It says at the beginning of the book that you can do this in one session, although it could be long and take breaks, or do it in multiple sessions. So I do like that it does have an arc, and that it's not necessarily endless, because probably your map would get a bit confused, and the randomness would probably make it make less sense logically the longer that you keep playing it. There are ruins. You can draw it however you like. It doesn't count as a settlement anymore. There are discoveries, represent points of interest. This is something your cartographer has heard of, or caught a glance of something, probably glimpse. Caught a glimpse of something on the horizon. Like all locations, you can only learn the specifics should you choose to travel to that location. Rolling doubles. When consulting the exploration table, you may notice the mountain and lake results for biome become a mountain range or river. Don't know what that means? We'll learn about it. When this happens, you should consider each dice to be the ends of the river or the mountain range. Okay. For rolls of the same value that land near each other, you might like to combine them into the same biome to make it over a large area. For example, 2 rolls of 1 on a biome dice may denote 1 large forest rather than 2 smaller ones. That makes sense. I'm going to do that as I feel is going to make a prettier map. There is a dog whining at my door. I would like to help it. It is not my dog. Sorry, buddy. Okay, now we learn about the cycle of play, the 3 phases: exploration phase, arrival phase, and rest phase, and we are going to learn them by doing them right now, live in the past, pre-recorded on the podcast. Oh, we even have a little ribbon to put in the book. I do like a ribbon. Always include a ribbon if you can. So, I pulled out a piece of paper from my book. I drew a little border around it to make it a little bit nicer. and I folded it up in like a map fold, which I thought was really lovely and clever, and now I realize my dice are going to go everywhere. But that's okay. That would be me knocking over the microphone. It will work out. Now I've chosen to go on a vertical map. This is 2 A4 pages, so it's quite big. I've decided on a vertical map, mostly because of the way I drew. It was a weird decision, but that's what it is. The first thing we are going to do is roll your dice pool. My dice pool consists of 3... What was it? Yeah. Consists of 3 biome, 1 location, and 2 wild. Now I get to roll, as far as I understand, I get to roll all your dice. Okay, not as far as I understand. Reading the rules, I'm going to start down quite low on the map, and I think we're going to sort of work our way up. It suggests that you roll them into a small area close together. You could even use a cup. If they fall off the paper, re-roll them. So I'm going to roll, and then we'll keep reading. Mark coastlines around all landmark die. Interesting. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so we'll take our pencil, and we're going to do a coastline. Now, this is going to be an interesting audio exercise, so it doesn't matter what it looks like. I might post a photo or something at the end. At this point, I can decide, I think, what my wild die are. I have a 4 on the landmark, and I have 2 other 4s on the wild die. I'm going to assume that one of the wild die is also a landmark, making for a bigger coastline. So rather than just drawing a few centimeters of coastline around one die, I'm going to draw this coastline, make a bigger start, and draw a larger coastline, which gives us a nice little, it's sort of halfway across the map, so it's going to be sort of ocean heavy at the bottom, and it might sort of expand up into more land as we go further north. So this is a nice little touch. It says settlements often find themselves near water, which is true. So mark a rough coastline around each landmark die, no more than a few centimeters. I have chosen to join these together because they weren't that far apart anyway. Consult the exploration table and begin sketching your map. If some dice would make sense shifted around slightly, do it. These rules are not rigid. It's important to make a cohesive map. Okay, so let's see. We need to consult the exploration table. What does that mean? Oh, as I go through, it looks good. There's lots of nice examples. That looks lovely. I like the layout. The layout's really nice. The art is really nice. Huge, like a big chunk of examples, which is really great to see in a book. There's a peaceful mode, exploration table. Okay, so now we look at what our other dice are. I'm going to remove these settlements. I wonder what... I'm going to remove them, but keep them at the 4, because I don't know what that means they are. I'm just going to put a little dot where they were. There are major settlements on the map. And now I'm looking at 4 more die. 4 more dice. And up here in the north, there is... Oh no, here we go. So exploration table was for the landmark die. So we actually have 2 cities. The exploration table here shows what a roll on a landmark dice is and what a roll on a biome dice is. So the 2 4s that I rolled on the landmark dice were both cities. And cities I'm going to denote by a circle, a dot with a circle around it. May change my mind later, but that's that for now. And then on the biome dice, we'll start south and work our way up. So the southernmost dice is a 4. It's close to the water, and it just says open land. What is open land going to look like? It's probably farming and stuff sort of near the cities. But let me see if it gives me a picture. So open land, it just looks like little tufts of grass and maybe little hills and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. Some little hills, some little features, mostly just sort of tufts of grass going down towards the coastline. And then our next die along is a 2, which is a mountain. A range, if there's 2, there's only 1. So here we're going to draw a nice little mountain. Now I'm bad at this, but I did find a reasonably satisfying way to draw mountains if I can remember how to do it, which is not like that. Let me look at what they suggest again if they give me a mountain. I really wish I could draw a mountain. It's just a little spiky mountain. Okay, I can get on board with that as a mountain. And then we have a 4, which is more open land. Now this is joining the open land again. I could choose to make that another city, but I'm going to keep that as open land. So this is kind of joining onto the open land that we had. I appreciate that this is not great radio, guys, but I guess it's more giving you an idea about how the game works and how the rules work and that kind of thing. I'll probably cut out any sort of drawing time that I do. And then we have our final dice, which was a fair bit further north, and that is a 3, which is a lake, or a river if it's 2 dice. So we can do a nice lake here. I'm just copying the lake that's in the book. It's just a lake. Excellent. So that's a bit of a landmark, for you, want of a better word, that we can look at going to later. I'm going to fill in the details later at my leisure. Then we have another... No, that was it. That was it for our die. So that was the first phase of the turn. I think I'm just going to go through like 1 or 2 phases to give you an idea how it works. And yeah, go from there. It's not a heavy narrative actual player which is going to be get you into the story. But like I do with these games, I want you to be able to get a feel for what it's like and then decide if it's something you want to play. So I hope that does that for you. Then we have the arrival phase. It's time to choose which location interests your cartographer. It's during this phase that you'll flesh out all the details of one of the locations on the map. This is done by chronicling your expedition in your journal. So we're going to choose a location on the map. I'm actually not choosing the southernmost. I'm choosing the one further north, which is going to be the place we arrived at. Oh, interesting. So it says if the chosen location is not the closest to your current location, you must lose 1 food to travel there. That makes sense. You can choose a landmark or a whole biome. Because this is the first turn, I'm assuming this is my location, so we don't need to use the food. Or do we? Draw a dashed line from your previous location to this one. If this is the first arrival phase of the game, skip this step. Okay, good. Draw a card from the deck and consult the journey table. Write a short sentence or 2 in your journal answering the prompt and describing the journey to this place. This should be brief. I have a deck of cards here. I don't know if there are jokers in it. Let me just check. Yes, there are. Okay. 2 jokers. If there's more, it's going to be a short game. Looks like there's 2. So I am now going to draw a card and consult the journey table. We have drawn a 12. I now realize a 12 does not exist in a standard deck of cards. This is not a standard deck of cards. We'll keep drawing until we get a standard number. It's another 12. What kind of deck of cards is this? It's an 11. Ace. Okay. The journey had an unforeseen benefit. What helped you whilst traveling? So the unforeseen benefit, I think, is that we popped out of our mine tunnel hole into the outskirts of... I think we had to dig our own way out for the last little bit, which was maybe the confusing things. The dwarves are like, yeah, I think we're probably under land. Just there you go up there. And we sort of dug our way out and we popped up in some farmer's field and we gained 1 food and water. Sorry, 1 food and wear. So we found something up there. I'm just going to draw, just for fun, just on the outskirts of town here, just a tiny little field, like a little plowed farm. Whether I keep that, I don't know. That looks dumb. Might get rid of it. Okay, so we gain 1 food and 1 wear. That was it. That was the journey table. And then consult the appropriate location table and respond. Okay, so there's a journey table, which is getting there. And then we go to the location table and respond to the prompt for your drawn card in your journal. Remember to journal from the point of view of your cartographer. Keep in mind what people might be here, what landscape surrounds you. And then name the location. Okay, so let's find the location table. It is a city, and it was a red card. So we have red city prompts. It was an ace. A city overtaken with nature. What bizarre plant have these people cultivated? What is it used for? Gain 5 food and lose 1 coin or gain 1 extra action in your next rest phase. Okay, so either gain 5 food and lose a coin or gain an extra action in your next rest phase. Now, I don't know what actions there are in the rest phase. On the other hand, I don't want to be completely broke, so I think I'm going to do that. We're going to gain an extra action. And then we are going to name the town. We're going to go to the town name generator, and this town is called... I haven't seen this. This is a 3d6 table, which gives you 18 prompts. I kind of like that. I mean, it could be a d20, but I guess it just means that you only need d6s, which is nice. 6, 12, 14 is Gilded. No, that's a forest name. We don't want a forest name. Oh, so the open lands have names as well. But we haven't explored them yet. The city name, that was a 14, so Grey Pass. Grey Pass. Now, you can just name it yourself. It says if you're stuck, choose the generator, but I just wanted to try the name generator. Now, Grey Pass, let me think about what this might mean. This doesn't say this in the game. Maybe it'll come to it, but let's just see. I want to figure out if I can imagine now something about this area, which is the point after all. Something about the history of this land based on the map. So Grey Pass, what might that mean? I'm immediately going to cheat here, and I'm immediately going to start drawing stuff onto this map, because a Grey Pass to me means it's got to be something to do with mountains, the right? Entrance. So this is going to be the start of a mountain range. So the mountain range is going to follow the coastline, and this sort of town, there's like a break in the mountains, and that's sort of with the entrance to the town there, to the city, and that's called Grey Pass. I like that. Okay, good. Next on the list is the rest phase. After a hard day's travel, your cartographer has some downtime. Kick up your feet, talk to the locals, buy some items or supplies, go out hunting, or sell some of your wares. Lose all temporary dice. Okay, that's fine. Lose any 1 remaining die from your dice pool. Interesting. If you're in a settlement, roll a die and halve the result to determine the value. Okay, so we're going to have to lose a die. Let's lose just a biome die. I guess this is sort of an impetus to keep collecting resources, keep spending things, keep the resource management going, because it does say later on in the peaceful mode that you don't need to lose a die if you just want to play peacefully. But that's cool. I don't mind having to I don't know. I think if I were just making a map, I could totally use this as a prompt to just make a map and not worry about any of the RPG elements, and I think that is totally intended. Or if you want to play a little game along the way, you can juggle with those resources. If you're at a settlement, which we are, roll a die, which is a 5, halve the result to determine the value of wares at this location. So that would be always round up. So that's going to be a 3. So some settlements are more interested in buying your stuff than others. You should always round up when determining the value of your wares. So select 2 different actions. I get a third one from the appropriate action list depending on where your cartographer ends up. You may lose a coin to take a third action. Excellent. I can converse, which is spend coin to gain a temporary die. I can sleep, which is gain a biome die. I guess I'm dreaming of the forest. You may also lose a food to gain an additional biome die. I can heal, lose a coin, remove a wound, restock, gain a food, or sell. First thing I'm going to do is sell, because 3 seems pretty decent. In fact, best it can be. Worth of value, gain coin equal to the settlement's ware value for each ware. Excellent. So I'm going to sell both my wares for 3 coins each. I can gain a temporary die. I'm going to do that. I got plenty of coin. So I'm going to chat to the locals, buy a temporary die, adding it immediately to my dice pool. I don't need to heal. I could do with some food, I guess. I got 1 more action. I can shop. Let's shop. Let's see how that works. So draw 3 cards from the deck. 3, 6, and 6. And if you're in a city, draw an additional card and a 2. Consult the item table and see what's available and roll a die for each item to reveal its price. Item prices are modified by your reputation, which is currently 0. If you wish for a less random way to determine item prices, consider all face cards 4 coins and all other items as 3 coins. Yeah, I'm going to go less random on that one. I'm happy for the randomness to be on the value of my selling. I think. Yeah, we still get randomness anyway from the cards. So let's go to page 52, where it tells us, first we have a red item. We have an animal drawn. I was just thinking of a hand-drawn animal, but it's an animal-drawn wagon. Gain 1 landmark dice and 1 biome die. You can carry up to 10 wares. But that's got to be more than 4 coin. Then again, random isn't going to be any better than that. Okay. So I could buy a wagon. Lets me carry more. I like that. I could buy a region map, gaining 4 biome dice. Interesting. I'm more interested in the wagon. And then for the black items, I could buy an adornment, gaining reputation. Ooh, I like that too. Or I could buy a protector. If you would take a wound, lose this item instead. So like a, I don't know, shield or something. Okay, I'm going to buy a wagon, which is going to get me a landmark die and a biome die. Oops, not pink. 1 landmark, 1 biome. And I'm going, so that was a cost of 3. And then for another 3, I'm going to buy a adornment, gaining 4 reputation. So the adornment is like a medal, some kind of brooch or badge or something that has a picture of a map or something that I think is very, very dashing. I'm going to have 4 reputation and I'm going to spend all my coin. And I get a wagon, which allows me to carry 10 wares. Okay. That was it for my phases. So that was rest phases in a settlement, and we would also have rest phases in a wilderness. That's it. That is a whole session of the game. Let me see how long I've been recording for. That is probably long enough for a short episode. So I hope that gives you an idea of how this really neat little game Cartograph works by Brandon Lee. I think it's good. I don't love journaling games, but what makes all the difference to me here is that you are getting another useful artifact out of it, and you're still getting like some flowy activity by drawing an actual map and doing something creative. That's cool. I like that. I don't need to write the journaling for this stuff, but if you're into journaling and you wanted to do that, that is totally here too. I really like that there is the option not to do that, although I'm not sure how this keyword thing comes into play. I don't know if I'm not doing it properly or if just no keywords came up yet. There are also some gameplay options like playing multiplayer. What did I see? Playing multiplayer, playing a peaceful game, longer, shorter games. You could totally use this just as a bit of an oracle if you were making a world. We have encampment names, regions, people, wares, outcome oracle. Interesting. So that's like a basic oracle. Gain 1 tag. Okay, so there are tags explicitly referenced. There's a rules reference. It's a really neat little book. Oh, looking on the rules reference, it has all the little pictures as well. I think it's nice. I like it. I'm going to keep playing and build a map that I plan to use one day in an adventure. Thank you for listening to the Solo Role Players podcast on this accidental instructional actual play of Cartograph by Brandon Lee. If you want to get in touch with me, you can by sending an email to SoloRolePlayersPodcast@gmail.com, finding me, PJ Sack, on Blue Sky or on Reddit. You also, at this stage, may be able to find me on Patreon. At the time of recording, I'm still actually working this out. This recording will be out in the future, but I will have informed you exactly how that works by the time that you listen to this. Yeah, Thank you. Reach out to me. Tell me of any games that you'd like me to play. That's something I haven't asked people to do before. I've had so many to do anyway. But reach out and tell me of games that you might like me to play. And if I have them, I will maybe play them. And if I don't have them, I will maybe purchase them or track them down somehow. Thank you again. Keep role-playing. Get out there and play if you haven't yet. If you're interested in the sound of Cartograph, check it out. And we'll see you next time on the SoloRolePlayers Podcast.